Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I am Sheila, your host in Essence and You, and today we have a fabulous guest, Baba Dawah. Hey, Baba Dawah, how are you
Good
doing?
evening. All right, how you doing this evening?
Good, good. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I got my name from a children's book. Reading to my youngest son. Um, and the word Dawah stood out because it meant food or medicine, and I just like the ring to it, and it goes along with I've been learning for the last 7 years at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and as far as doing the herbs and nutrition and health thing. And I kind of got into that when my oldest son was born. We didn't know whether we wanted to vaccinate him or not. And I read a vaccination book, which kind of led me on my journey, started me on my journey towards health and improving my personal diet. Um, and of course, led into the herbs and things of that nature. And yeah, we wasn't sure whether we wanted to vaccinate them. We didn't know the dangers of vaccination. We didn't know what vaccinations were considered safe, were really necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And just, growing up thinking that we had to have vaccinations to go to school, which is, not true. You don't have to be vaccinated in order to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
You just learning more and more. And eventually, I think the apex of my health journey came when I went to Panama. Um, and I learned from Dr. Irish Latham. A lot of people have heard of him. If they haven't heard of him, I'm sure they have seen him before.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of like made me step my game up on the health thing and move me more towards raw and liquid foods. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I started fasting. I started doing liquid fasts. Um, I would normally fast my age, whatever age I'm going to be that year. That's the days I would go on a liquid fast. Um, about 2 years ago, I stopped drinking water and just started drinking the juices that I made. And
Mm-hmm.
the main thing, the main liquid that I do drink is coconut water.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my main source of liquids that I do drink. Mind you, my youngest daughter, my youngest child, which she's a girl, she never had water.
Mm.
And she's
Wow. How old is
18
she?
months, 18
18.
months, 18 months. Went from
She's
breast
never
milk
had
to straight.
water.
Only thing she drinks is coconut water and the juices that I make. Yeah.
S- So with that journey and the vaccinations, um, just think that we all, in our age bracket, we all had to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
So no telling what was in that, but what you discovered really just opened your eyes, I'm assuming.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think what saved us and the generation before me is that the number of vaccinations that they were giving children in the 80s has more than quadrupled
Mm-hmm.
over the vaccinations that they're giving children now. So say we may have had needed maybe like 10 to 12 vaccinations by the
Mm-hmm.
time we were 18 years old. Nowadays, these children they're literally getting like 20 or 30 vaccinations before they're 18 years old.
That's a lot.
There's a whole documentary out there. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it breaks down to how this vaccination thing is linked heavily to autism.
Mm-hmm.
And we seeing a lot of it going around nowadays. A lot of children
Yes.
are being diagnosed with autism or some type of disability. We know of two personal stories of friends of ours where I forgot what vaccination it was, but the mother told us that after she had that shot, she was very irritable that day,
Mm-hmm.
and when she went to bed that night, she woke up a totally different child. Yeah, and she's been struggling with that within herself and just with trying to be, more, there for her, because she needs more, more assistance. When your child has autism or something like that, you have to be more vigilant, aware of what they're doing, where they're at, because they would do things that a normal child wouldn't do.
Yes. That
And
is that is a true statement. Mm-hmm.
you know. So, and I think like one of the main signs at an early age that a child may have autism is that they will play with their feces, and I think that's when she noticed it. And yeah, it's just been she's. But I'm a firm believer that with the right uh knowledge and the right discipline,
Mm-hmm.
I believe you can straighten some of that out in the child. But a
Mm-hmm.
lot of parents are not willing to sacrifice that, because I notice even with family that and friends that have children who are okay, have no autism, no nothing wrong. I notice that they have a hard time putting their child on a strict diet because they don't want to be on one. So they feel like they're restricting the child of certain things that it's really a nostalgia for them. And they
Mm-hmm.
grew up eating this. They grew up having this candy. Going out trick or treating, eating drinking Capri Suns, and all of this,
Mm-hmm.
drinking sodas and all the other stuff. So they feel like, well, I grew up and I had this food. What really harm is it doing to my child? And that
Mm-hmm.
understanding that, hey, the foods that we grew up off of, the ingredients have changed. The fast food that we ate growing up is not the same fast food that they're eating today.
Yeah.
And we're wondering why there's so much high diagnosis, ADHD, and all this other stuff going on, because the food is different. The
Mm-hmm.
food is changing, and we're not really aware of what's going on. You know, I always joke. I was like my oldest is in high school now, and my youngest boy, he's in the third grade, and I'm like, I joked with somebody the other day. I was like, do you know we're dealing with the first generation of parents that grew up with ADHD,
Yeah.
taking Ritalin. These are the ones that's in here like educating our children. I had one
Yeah.
principal in the middle school when my son was in eighth grade last year, told us in a meeting conference that she had ADHD.
Really.
A principal,
I just
and you got the nerve to be talking about these kids' behavior. It's like it's wild. Like the fact that we out here just admitting that we got all these diagnoses, it's crazy to me. There's no way I'm going to be admitting that, I got this and I got. I feel like it's a lot of a social ailment going on around here.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody diagnosing themselves.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you could thank the internet for that.
absolutely.
The
Social
internet
media.
is a good and a bad thing, I believe.
Right.
Mhm. So,
But
for your dietary needs, how
mhm.
did you come across that? And you mentioned a gentleman when you went to Panama, and
Yes.
then you mentioned Dr. Sabian. Have you ever heard of Adama?
I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
Adama.
AD.
Because she
Mm-mm.
she had
Panama.
I had a talk with her, and she um said she knew Dr. Sabian also. So I didn't know if you guys ran into the same circles.
No, I haven't. I haven't heard of her.
Mhm.
But yeah, my first uh introduction to health was being introduced to Dr. Sabi, listening to Dr. Sabi. With the alkaline diet. He
Mhm.
stressed like the alkaline diet. 'Cause basically, the body is acidic, and you can get that in the background. You can.
It's okay.
I'm gonna try. I gotta. Let me see something. I thought I had. It's a way that I can. Hello.
Yes,
How about now?
I can hear you. And I can hear it.
Still here in the background.
Uh-huh. It's all right though. This is life, so it's all good.
But this noise cancellation. That's what
Oh
I
yeah.
was asking. But
Okay.
um, I first got introduced to Dr. Sabi, and
Mm-hmm.
um, and I kind of like followed That's how I got introduced to the herbs. And what I initially started doing, I would purchase his herbs online and stuff, and
Mhm.
I would take them, and I noticed the difference in me taking the herb. So I took a chance one day, and I was like, you know what? Because what he would have is when he send you the herbs, he would have the ingredient
Yes.
on it. So I was like, you know what? Let me purchase some of these herbs and buy me a little capsule machine, and I'm gonna see if I can get the same results. Me
Mhm.
making them, the same results I got taking his herbs. So just playing around with it, not knowing what I was doing. Bought a little bullet machine, got the herbs, put it all in there, blended it all up, put it in the capsules, and I started taking it. And as soon as I started realizing that I was getting the same results, that's when I just jumped off the cliff with the herbs, and I started buying like pounds and pounds and pounds of herbs, different herbs, and just experimenting with myself.
Mhm.
And and it's crazy because I never got into herbs to try to sell herbs.
Mhm.
It was just like I would be at work sometimes, and like on my lunch break or something, I like break out my stuff, and I just put herbs together for myself. And people around be like, "Oh, what you doing? What is that?" And
Yeah.
I kind of get them like my little testimony where they do this for me, they help me with this. So I like people was like, "Well, let me, you know, I'm interested. Let me try it." So at first I used to just give them away.
Mhm.
Like here, try it. And then people was coming back to me. It's like, "Yo, these things are like really like you on to something. These things are like really helping me."
Mhm.
And mind you, I went on social media. I ain't, to be honest, I ain't get on social media to COVID.
Really?
So right, I just literally got on social media. So when I started doing it, I had people like just like start at work, just start coming up to me like, "Hey, are you the guy with the herbs?" Yeah, I'm like,
Mhm.
people are talking.
Word of
So
mouth.
yeah, so that's like the best seller. Like if your
Mhm.
product, if what you're doing works, people are going to talk about it, and they're going to keep
Mhm.
coming back. And from there, I kind of like selling herbs. But I always told myself, I was like, if I stop selling herbs today, my herbs will still never go to waste because I
Mhm.
take them. So that's always been my like philosophy. I don't have to sell herbs. This is
Mhm.
my life. It's just like with juice. Like now, like now that I'm on social media and a lot of people see what I'm doing and I show stuff of what I'm doing. Like a
Yes.
lot of people they're getting more like acquainted with coconut water. And a lot of
Mhm.
people told me I don't like coconut water. I don't like the way it tastes. And I'm like explaining it to them like, yo, coconut water is the supreme water that you can drink. Better than H2O, better than any water that you can get from nature. Coconut is the
Mhm.
number one water that you can get. And also coconut is the only fruit in the world, only vegetation in the world that would give you water
Mhm.
without you taking it through a machine. You cut it open and you got water. The only fruit, it's the only vegetation in the world that can do that, which therefore makes it the number one water in the world because it already
Mhm.
gets you to you in that form. And it's the highest grown fruit tree in the world. Like the way I've been taught by Dr. Iris Latham is so you have vegetables and you have fruit, right?
Yes.
Fruit are electrical, meaning that the sun is electrical, right?
Mhm.
All fruit, most of your fruit grows either on trees or on bushes. But what they do is the whole science behind fruit being electrical is they reach for the sun. And the only fruit that is not grown on a tree or a bush that is omitted from that is the cucumber and the melon family.
Mhm.
They grow on vines.
Yes.
That's why they grow out instead of up
Mhm. Mhm.
because the actual fruit is so heavy that it can't stretch up. It'll have to stretch out. But
Mhm.
all your vegetation, all your vegetables grow towards the earth. which makes them magnetic.
Mm-hmm.
So vegetables are magnetic, fruits are electrical. And
Okay.
what we have is we have an electrical body. So that means we need more water in our body because our body is what? Majority water. Our body is like
Mm-hmm.
78 to 80% water. Just
Mm-hmm.
like the earth. The earth is 78 to 80% water. So if we're going to say that our body is majority water, and we're going to say that the planet that we live on is majority water, then our diet should be majority water. So it should be more like an 80-20 diet. 80% water, 20% solids. And then that's how we come with the science of how we should eat.
I gotcha. So when you went down that rabbit hole
Hmm.
and start eating, you- so is it fair to say you're a vegetarian? Is
Yes,
that fair? Okay.
right.
Start eating vegetarian. How did the rest of your family react to that? Like, because tradition,
Right.
burgers, French fries, you know,
it it was
you're
it
depriving
was
your kids. Did you get any of that or?
yes, yeah, in a sense, but
Mm-hmm.
it was more like a, I think looking back on it, was more like they're watching. They're just watching to see how long it's gonna last. Is it just a
Mm-hmm.
fad, you know? And and I'm the type of person when I get into studying something, like I dive in and I go
Mm-hmm.
to the extreme. And when I first started, now it wasn't like it is nowadays. Nowadays it's so easy to find to go to a restaurant and find a vegetarian or a vegan menu, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I started, it was none of that. There was no vegan menu. What is that? Like it wasn't, none of that was out there then. So what I would do is I used to purposely, like, because I'm a study of history too.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go to like Thanksgiving and I would refuse to eat anything on Thanksgiving. I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
even eat on Thanksgiving just because of the historical
Mm-hmm.
context of Thanksgiving. And they just noticing me coming when I come to places. I bring my own food,
Mm-hmm.
or I would eat before I go, things like that. But it's funny because fast forward to like nowadays, we'll come or we'll have something at home or we'll
Mm-hmm.
bring dish to a family member house and they're not vegan, but now they want to try our food.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you got all of this food over here, but you want to come over here and taste our little bit of food, and this is the only option that we got. So I had a couple of friends and family members who have since then changed their diet,
Mm-hmm.
became vegan, things like that. And I had an older cousin who, you know, he eventually had a home birth, stopped vaccinating his children. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And so it's becoming a thing that where we're going back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's been a journey, but it's been worth it.
I think yeah, hey, I think if I would have known about it earlier in my lifetime, I would have tried it earlier
It's
and
never too late.
done it earlier. But my question is, where do you find your herbs and your ingredients, and what vendors do you use to make sure that they are who they say they are?
Where I use I find like vendors that are either organically grown
Mhm.
or my favorite, which is Wild Harvest. Which
Mhm.
Wild Harvest is always going to be better than organic because basically Wild Harvest means that it's not manipulated by man. Like
Mhm.
man didn't plant it and grew it there. It grew there naturally. Now you can grow organic. I can take a seed and put it in the dirt and just use water and sunlight to help it grow. but I manipulated that soil in order and put it there. You see what I'm saying? So that's the difference between wild harvest and organically grown. So I think the main ones that I use is it's a website called Mountain
Oh,
Rose
Mountain
Herbs.
Rose?
Mm-hmm.
Rose
Mountain
Mountain
Rose
or
Herb.
Mountain Rose? I heard of them,
Yeah,
yeah.
something like yeah. So I get some of my stuff from them. There's a number of ones that I would use depending on what they have because I always try to search for wild harvest. So I would definitely like, if you are looking for herbs, always check wild harvest herbs and see what vendors, and then research those vendors. You know, that's another thing. Like I'm big on, even when I read like authors, I research the author before I read the books.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where does this author get his information from? How long has this author been studying this,
Mm-hmm.
this subject? So we just got to get comfortable with just not being Google intellectuals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know,
actually research it yourself.
all right, research,
Research it
use,
first before you Google.
right. So I
Yeah.
always been, when I started, diving into research, I always been trained that you need at least 3 or 4 references
Mm-hmm.
before you can deem as being fact or true. Have your sources. If you can't have your sources, then you really don't have an argument.
So when you went to Panama, how long were you there and what did you discover or learn there?
So I was in Panama for 7 days. It was a 7 day course, and you was literally like learning every day that you're there. Like you up
Mm-hmm.
7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're like in a kitchen classroom setting. So
Mm-hmm.
he had like this big kitchen and this long silver table, and what he would do is he would
Who is he?
Dr. Iris Latham.
Oh, okay.
And what he would do is he would basically he put us on a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So and the schedule was from the time you wake up in the morning till noon, you start your day off with liquid. And I explain why this system is once I go into how our day went. So
Okay.
we start off with fruit juices, coconut water, whatever fruit juices we juice. We go from fruit juices to eating fruit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Afternoon, after 12, this is when we would go into eating starches, fats, and protein.
Mm-hmm.
So from noon until about, I say, 6 that evening,
Mm-hmm.
this is the time you would eat your starches, proteins, and your fats, which is basically your heavy foods, right?
Mm-hmm.
After after 6 or after the sun goes down, we go back to how we start our day, back to fruits and juices. And the reason for that is when you think of, say, you go to bed at 9 o'clock at night, 9, 10 at night.
Mm-hmm.
So from 9, 10 to about, let's say, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, your body is asleep. Nothing is getting past your lips. You're pretty much in a fasting state, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 8 hours has passed and nothing has been in your system. Nothing has been digesting after you ate your last meal the night before. So when you wake up in the morning, you have to pretty much wake up your system
Mm-hmm.
because your body's been resting. So you have to wake up your system. So you wake up your system with the fastest digestive substance that you can put in your body, which is liquid. Because it doesn't take much. You don't have to digest. Your body doesn't have to break down liquid,
Mm-hmm.
right? So because the way our stomach works is whatever we eat, our body churns it and turns it into liquid anyway before it passes through our intestines, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we start our mornings off with liquid first. So we're beginning to wake up our digestive system. Once we give our bodies about, I say, 16 to 32 ounces of fresh fruit juices, Then we move into eating fruits. Fruits, actually eating fruit is the next fastest digestive food that you can eat after
Mm-hmm.
liquids. Liquids within a couple minutes, liquids is digested in your system. Eating fruits within 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes of you eating fruit, your body has digested fruits. So afternoon, then your body is ready for the fats, the starches, and the protein. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why your body is ready for the fats, the starches, and the protein, because it's all related with the sun. So while you're waking up in the morning, the sun is still rising. So you're introducing your body to those fast digesting foods. So when that sun hits the peak of the sky,
Mm-hmm.
now your body is ready for the heavy foods because now your body it relates with the sun and the sun helps with digestion.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can digest those heavier foods because the sun is helping you digest those foods faster. That's why if you know they don't do it like we don't do it like we used to, but you remember where some people would eat dinner and then after dinner they'll go for a walk.
Yes.
So see, our people understood whether they knew it or not that they knew that walking and being out there in the elements of the sun that it was going to help with them digesting that food before they lay down at night.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want to eat and then go lay down because you're really not getting sleep when you eat and lay down because the first 3-4 hours of you sleeping and you still have food in your stomach, your body is trying to digest that food. And this is why a lot of people have dreams and have nightmares because it's related to digestion. So this is why we have that time schedule while we're eating.
See.
Right? It's all related to nature. Everything relates
Mm-hmm.
to nature. And this is why we rise with the sun. We get
Yeah.
up with the sun. When the sun rises, we get up.
Yeah.
When the sun sets, we go down with the sun. This is
I
why
see.
if you notice, this is why people who work second and third shift, that's the reason why they get a differential because there's studies that have shown that people who get less sunlight live less they live less. They don't live long
Mm-hmm. That's why
because they're
people in
not
Seattle they have those special lights, like light bulbs,
right.
because
And
they don't have that much, you know, dreariness, I
and,
guess.
and being that you brought up Seattle, Seattle was like the highest suicide rate city
Mm-hmm.
because of the sunlight. It's always raining,
Yep.
cloudy. So that tells you right there, like everything is connected. Everything is connected from the food that you eat. That's why I would say 65%, 65 to 70% of my diet is eating what's in season.
Eating what is in season.
Right. In your location, in your locality, wherever you live.
So in the winter months, because we both live here in Virginia,
hmm
in the winter months,
hmm
what do you eat?
In the winter months, this is when I'm gonna be heavy on legumes, which is
Mm-hmm.
beans, peas, and I'm gonna be heavy on dried fruits and nuts. This is when you're gonna go heavy on that because what it is those those foods help you survive those winter months. They hold more during those
Mm-hmm.
cold months. Because not saying there's anything wrong with eating fruits in the winter, but what fruit does is it in this climate it thins your blood, and when
Mm.
your blood is being thinned, that means you're gonna get colder faster
That's in the winter months if you eat fruits in
in
the
the
winter
winter
months.
months, right? But in actuality, this is not our climate.
Mm-hmm.
We were never meant to be in this type of climate. So this climate is not even for us. That's why you can see white people walking around in the fall, early winter with shorts on, and we looking
Mm-hmm.
like it's cold out here
Right.
because what I'm saying, their locality, their climate and environment that they came from, over thousands and millions of years, like their body has adjusted to that climate. That's why
Mm-hmm.
they can go out here and eat meat and drink milk. And when we do it, it affects us much more worse than it does with them, because the
Mm-hmm.
climate that they come from, they didn't have a lot of vegetation. We came from a climate that gave us vegetation, so we had no need for the heavy meats.
Mm-hmm.
And if you study anything on African history, you'll learn that when we did eat meats, it was ceremonial.
Mm-hmm.
It was more like sacrifice. And even when we did kill animals, we literally said prayers and
Yeah.
asked forgiveness for killing these animals. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? So it wasn't just some feast thing we just did ritually. It was just a ceremonial thing that we did. But majority of our diet was fruits and vegetation.
Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of Africa, you've been
hmm
to Africa, right?
Yeah, I've been to Ghana and Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Kemet, I like to say Kemet.
Kemet, yes.
hmm
Um, which one of those two did you feel most connected with spiritually? Like that you felt like, oh man, this is, something just stirring up within your soul.
Ghana.
Ghana. Why?
Ghana, Ghana is called because well, Ghana, there's black people are in Ghana, African people are
Right.
in Ghana. So the difference, so if you when you go to Egypt or when you go to Kemet, you're more so looking at history.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because Egypt is occupied by invaders right now.
Mm-hmm.
They've been occupied by invaders since the 600s, which are the Arabs. There are nothing
Mm-hmm.
but Arabs there. Majority are Arabs. It's an Arab country. But when you go there to see what we did thousands and thousands of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not getting the cultural experience. You're getting more of an educational experience
Mm-hmm.
in Egypt. Going to see the pyramids and the temples and things of that nature. You know, you seeing the residue of what we left. But when you go to Ghana, you see us in real time. You see us operating nations. Building roads. You know, having an economy, you know, politics. You
Mm-hmm.
see nothing but us doing that over there. So you have more of a, soon we got off the plane and we was headed to our bus, all you hear was Akwa, Akbar, which means welcome,
Mm-hmm.
welcome. And they'll tell you, welcome home, so, then it's just so much like I think I went and saw about uh, three dungeons. They call them castles,
Yeah. Yeah.
but one of the biggest ones is at Elmina Castle, which is where they would walk us across the several states in Africa all the way to the coast,
Mm-hmm.
and they had this river, what they call the last bath, which this is where they would pretty much bathe you and get you ready to get on the boat, and who will purchase you, who will buy you.
Mm-hmm.
And they show you where they had the women's quarters and the men quarters, and where places where they would just put you this to die. Like if they found out you had a disease, they'll just throw you in here and let you just rot away and starve
Mm-hmm.
yourself to death. How they had the women's quarters connected to like the captain's room. It was like they show you like a stairway. They would go down, they would bring up girls and women
Whatever one
to
he
be right.
wanted to do.
Right. And it was just it was definitely a a connection that you have to like experience for yourself, like to actually be there and like
Mm-hmm.
know that this once upon a time this happened in this very place you standing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just
But did you feel a heavy feeling or a sad feeling when you?
it
Because
was
I know when I
more like
went to the Legacy Museum and we went to see the bells, and then you saw
mm,
how many of us were hung in different
Mhm.
states, and they had the huge bell with the state, with the city's name and how many were hung on that day, or, you
Mhm.
know, and that was just so moving to me that it just broke my heart that any human being was treated that way.
Right. And
Mhm.
I think my connection came with, so because you would have you know, black people there that were like kind of like your tour guides and who would like
Mhm.
give you like the history of what happened. Um, I think what kind of got me the most was I had one tour guide. He was a little younger, and he had made a comment, and he said, you know, why is it? I guess I don't know how old he thought I was, but
Mhm.
he was like, most of the people that we see coming on these type of tours are like either they're older black people or
Mhm.
they're like young college white kids.
Mhm.
And he was like, why don't anybody in our age group want to come here and visit and come home and see their history? And I had to explain to them to like, well, most of our people don't even have the funds to get over here.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? That's why
True
you see a lot
facts.
of this is why you see a lot of these people who they live their life, retired, now they have the time to actually go do something because they've been
Mhm.
grinding, you know what I'm saying? The last 30 years of their life, they've been grinding and working. Now they have the
Mhm.
time to come over here. And most of these college students, they're being funded
Mhm.
to come over here. You know what I'm saying? So it's 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 just there is a disconnect where they have a perception about us in America, and then we have a perception about them over there. But
Mhm.
in actuality, they really they're looking for us to come over there. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And I know that I have had conversations in the past with black people over here who they will make bogus statements, which to a degree they're true, but
Mhm.
there's a backdrop to that story where they would say,
Mhm.
well, our people sold us into slavery. You know what I'm saying? Which
Mhm.
there were tribes in Africa, but you cannot lump a whole continent and say, hey,
Right.
all of them, so they're ones that were fighting, what I'm saying, to keep us, from being traded and put on those slave trips. And for the simple fact that people were put in situations where, a group of white people with guns would come in here and be like, hey, you either help us get capture these people or we're going to
Mhm.
take your people.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of situations where, people were just put in situations where, choices had to be made to either save your children, you know what I'm saying? Not saying that it was right, but
Mhm.
these were not just willing participants, you
Right.
know?
There were
So
consequences behind it.
right. So just to have an understanding on what really, from their perspective, the ones who
Mhm.
never left, you know what I'm saying? To get their perspective of how they view and look at us. Because I mean, a couple years ago, the Ghanaian president even offered dual citizenship to African Americans who wanted to come back home. It
Mhm.
was making it easy for people to come back home. So there is still that connection there that they still feel and have for us over here, you know. So, but like I said, Ghana was more cultural for me. It was more of seeing us.
Mhm. Yeah. I get that part. I do. So if you had a chance to go live there, would you go live in Ghana or somewhere else?
I would want to live somewhere else. I would see, being that I'm more into the health thing.
Mhm.
I'm looking at more of like Central America,
Mhm.
you know, closer to the equator where that vegetation is coming year round, not having to worry about a winter, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, because at the end of the day, African people, we populated the whole globe.
Yes.
It wasn't just a particular area. Now, majority of us are in Africa. But when you study books like Dr. Ann Van Sertiman, who wrote They Came Before Columbus, we was in the Americas before the so-called Native American Indians. We were in Central America. We was in South America. We was in Asia before the so-called Arabs and Chinamen. All of these places there's documents that we were there. So we have populated the globe. So in actuality, you know, it's not just Africa that belongs to us.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking more where it's suitable for a healthy life.
I think they call those the blue states or something like that. The blue zones. You heard of that?
You talking about
What?
like Central America and places like
Yeah, like anywhere where your longevity of health and life
that?
because of
Right.
the certain foods you eat, the activities that you do. I think they call them like the blue zones or blue states, or I think it's called blue zones. I don't think they're blue states because certain
Right.
countries are blue, meaning that have a long lifespan and healthy lifestyle.
And the air you breathe, you can't forget that. That's
Yep,
important too.
exactly.
A factor that's not talked about the most, the air we breathe.
Yeah, because you
Cause
never know what you're
yeah,
breathing in, actually.
yeah, that's the oxygen is the number one thing you need because you can be as healthy as you want to be. If somebody puts you underwater and you can't breathe, you're gonna die. I don't
Hmm.
care how healthy you are.
Yeah,
So, and we're being suffocated here in America with all of these factories and shipyards and all these things is just all in the air. So,
yes.
I mean, you've been to other countries. You can literally feel the difference in how you breathe when you go to more cleaner countries. It's a difference.
It's a different vibe for me,
It is.
anyway.
It is.
Hmm.
It like does something to your spirit when you're more in a happier mood.
It's well, where we have been, it's almost like a laid back type of lifestyle. Even when we went to Canada,
Hmm.
and Canada has a winter month. I would love to live there. I don't care
Right.
about their winter or not because it's the people and the atmosphere that
Right.
makes the whole heck of a difference.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
Hmm.
because I mean, we were in the Caribbean islands where it was warm all year round, and we experienced hell from a group of people.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yes. I have
uh,
one more question to
mhm,
ask. Well, actually, two.
mhm.
Your rap, because I think you should do a cookbook. Your vegetarian wrap. You're gonna have to give me the recipe for that. Is it
what?
purple? It was purple, and I don't know
Oh,
what all you put on it.
what was a raw wrap? Was it
I think
raw?
so. It was on your Instagram. It was like maybe one of
Purple.
the first or second ones I saw on your
Hmm.
Instagram.
I
But you're
know I
gonna have
did
to.
a raw one, but it was like I don't think it was purple. I think it was like reddish. It was like a red cover. Like I did one out of using uh the red pepper. I made a wrap
Hmm.
out of the red pepper.
I'm gonna have
I
to
made
look back at
tacos.
it.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't really matter. I don't have to look back at it. Just the two wraps that you did on there. Just gonna have to send me the recipe.
Like I
And
could
the
do a cooked one and a raw one. So I do
Yeah,
both.
and you did the burgers too.
Yes, I did the burgers. I think that one was raw. 'Cause I made the bread and
Hmm.
everything. 'Cause I used a dehydrator.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I saw your Vitamix, so you were mixing up your juices, of which you have. He has very good juices, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Plug.
Yeah, I did one. I don't know if you've seen the one I did recently, because it's grape season,
Yes.
and I did muscadine and the scoffing grapes, and
Mm.
I made fresh juice out of those.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder what that tastes like.
Delicious, delicious. Them grapes is it's a process because I do it by hand
Hmm.
because of the texture of the grape. I'd rather do it by hand than by using the juicer. So it takes a
Hmm.
little bit more, time to do. Man, that juice is so good. It's like one of the best. It's one of the best juices that I made. Cause coconut. Like I said, coconut is the number one water. After the coconut, it's the melon family.
Mm-hmm.
And after the melon family is actually the grape family. Grapes
Okay.
are number three on the list as far as uh, content, water content.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your top three water content fruit.
So this is gonna I ask some of my guests, all of my guests,
Mm-hmm.
where you're at right now in your life. What is it that you are most proud of? Whether it be spiritual, your family, your drive, your determination. What is it that you're most proud of yourself at this particular moment?
It's a hard question because I'm a collective thinker.
Well, there could be go.
I feel like that there's no. I look at it like the body. All right, it's
Mm-hmm.
like you know I can't say that the heart is the most important organ in my body, and I can't say that the brain is the most important organ in my body. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's all of them working together.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at it like if it wasn't for the experiences, the people in my life, the people that I came across that I may not have seen, that I may not see again, or who have passed on. And I just feel like my experiences are what created me who I am today. Because I mean, when you really look at the understanding of time, I'm a firm believer that the past, the present, and the future is one.
All run
So
together. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
all of those things made me who I am. So I I, I would have to say my experiences is what I'm most proud of the most.
Well, that's fair enough. Fair
So
enough. Because without your experiences, you wouldn't be, again, you wouldn't be who you are.
exactly,
Right. And all
yeah,
those people that came into your life, they came into your life for a reason. And that
right,
reason is what you have accomplished, what you have learned, what you
exactly,
have made, what you have sowed for your family as far as the history or as far as the lineage that you are presenting to them to show that you don't have to be like everybody else
all
because
right,
you're on to the left. You
right,
don't have to
exactly,
go right. You could go left. So
right,
it's like you paved your own path, and your
and,
family it will do the same.
yeah. So that I mean that's the goal is for each generation to be better than the generation before it.
Absolutely.
And I'm a firm believer. And I actually had an elder tell me. He told me one day. He said, "All information is good information,
Mhm.
even when the information is not right, because you learn something there. You learn that
Yeah.
the information that you received was not good information, so you know what to
Mhm.
do with that information.
Absolutely.
So you know, I like to read everything.
Hey, knowledge is power. That's something they can
Yeah,
never take away from you.
yeah, absolutely. So
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
I'm just glad I was the first generation in my family to actually break that dietary lifestyle, And I do want to say one thing about because it is a lot of misconceptions. I had this conversation a lot with people who have struggled with health and struggle with ailments and stuff like that, and a lot of people think that because it runs in the family
Mhm.
that they're gonna, they have no say so or whether they're gonna get it or not.
Mhm.
And you have people who be like, hey, well, it's in my genes. I inherited it and things of that nature. But when you really sit and analyze it, the only thing that we inherit that we do is the eating habit. So if your mother or your grandparent ate a certain way and it contracted this. Then with that analysis and with that looking at that would tell me that, hey, if I eat that, I'm more prone to catch this,
Mm-hmm.
just like them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you change up your diet and you have more of a clean, healthier, natural diet, are you still more prone to get those same things that they got because they ate different foods than you? Now you change the whole biological genetic makeup of your own biochemistry
Mm-hmm.
because DNA can be turned on and off, you know. So that is there's a lot of misconception about, just because your parents had it, when we go to the doctor, they be like, yo, did your parents or your grandparents have, diabetes? Or, because they automatically, in the doctor's mind, they automatically thinking that, well, you eat just like your parents or your grandparents. So you more
Mm-hmm.
prone to get what they got.
Yeah.
High blood pressure is like one of the main things
Yeah.
that runs
High
in the
blood
black
pressure and
community.
diabetes. Yeah.
So, but I never been on. I'm 42 years old. I never been on any type of medication. I don't experience any type of problems, or I work out. I work out. Run out here, run with the kids. I coach. I
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem. So, and I get a lot of flack from some of my elders too, because they'll tell me I need to go get checked. You need to go get checked out, get colonoscopy and all this other stuff. But my thing with that is, ever since I know my dad at least twice a year went to the doctor twice a year,
Mm-hmm.
and he still died of cancer. So what was it all for? What were they checking for? What are they
Mm-hmm.
doing? Like, if you go to the doctor every 6 months, you would think that within those 6 months, they would be able to see something, catch something, you know, and you did all of that, and you still, like, that's why I'm like, that's why I knew it was a scam right then and there. When I sat there and saw my dad sit in the hospital for 40 days and not eat because he couldn't eat. And that's when the moment I said I was going to start fasting. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to sit in the hospital and wait to somebody or some doctor to tell me I'm on my last leg and tell me that, hey, yeah, your body is not going to digest this food anymore. You can no longer eat. We got to feed you through a tube. So I had lost hope for the medical industry,
Mm-hmm.
and by me losing hope, it made me be more responsible and careful on what I put in my body. Because if I
Mm-hmm.
don't want that to happen to me, then I need to be more disciplined on my health journey. Because now I'm saying to myself that I'm going to become my own doctor. So
It's a valid
that's
point,
what
and it happens. Unfortunately, it happens to more
it
people
does.
than it should. Like you do
Yeah.
go to the doctor, and you are diligent, and
Mhm.
go, and then all of a sudden, it didn't pop
Yeah.
up all of a sudden. There you would think that there would be some type of blood test or something to test for something
Something.
for early detection of anything,
Some
and that's
like
what you would hope. Yeah.
yeah. Like, and then next thing you know, they talking about you got stage 3, stage 4 cancer. What? I've been coming to see you for the it just
Yeah.
yeah, because
That could leave a bad taste in your mouth. Absolutely.
it it does, because for the simple fact that most of our people who struggle with disease are so easy to fix,
Mm-hmm.
because most of the things that we have problems with are digestive issues, and your digestive system is your first line of defense, meaning that if you are to cure any ailments in your body, it will be cured through the digestive system first, because this is how we eliminate waste.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once the digestive system gets backed up, now you have a problem.
Yeah.
And the first sign of that, as I always tell people, is if you're not having steady bowel movements, if you eat every day, especially if you're eating 2 or 3 or 4 times a day, you need to be going to the bathroom at least 2, 3, 4 times a day. And if you're not, you're getting rid of waste probably that you ate 4 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And your elimination system is not keeping up with the amount of food that you're putting in your mouth.
Yeah.
So looking at your defecation, understanding not only how much you're going, how it looks, how it smells, all of that plays a factor in what's going on in the inside. You have to be very aware of your body and what's going on, what's coming in and what's going out.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a fact.
So I mean, you're talking from a person who went 40 something days. Well, actually, the longest I ever went was 100 days without eating. And you talking about it wasn't until I was on around day 40, 50 when I stopped having bowel movements every day. It took 40 days for me on a
Wow.
liquid diet for me to start having bowel movements every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that tells you the amount of waste that was coming out that was backed up in my system that had to be broken down, because when waste sits in your body for a long period of time, it changes forms
Mm-hmm.
and it becomes embedded in your system, and it doesn't even look like waste anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So those things over time have to get broken down, broken down, broken down, broken down, and then eventually they can come out.
Yeah.
So it's yeah. People think that, hey, just because you drinking liquids that you ain't gonna be going to the bathroom. It depends on what's in your system and what's gonna
Mm-hmm.
come out.
And we probably all have a lot of junk in our system.
If you ain't eating, I mean, even if you eating nature's food, you're gonna go to the bathroom. It's still
Mm-hmm.
it's fiber.
Yeah.
Anything that you're gonna chew and digest, it has to come out. Your body keeps
Yeah.
what it needs, and then it eliminates the compost.
Yeah.
So all of it has to come out.
Gotcha. So, is there any last thing that you would like to say? Any
Mm,
advice you would like to give us?
and the first thing that comes to mind is like a lot of people I work with, I don't even tell them to like go on a vegan diet, go on a vegetarian diet.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing, one of the main things I just tell people is follow the morning system of drinking liquids in the morning. It doesn't even have to be fruit juices. Even if you just can, right now you can only you can just do herbal teas and water.
Mm-hmm.
Start your morning off with liquids. Start your morning off with fruits. And then afternoon, if you want to eat the fats, the starches, and the protein, I'm not even telling people not to eat meat.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm telling people is how you prepare your food. You know, let's not put flour. Let's not use oil. Let's not use condiments like hot sauce and barbecue sauce. If you want to eat the meat, let's bake it. Let's grill it.
Mm-hmm.
Season it with herbs and spices, and bake it and grill it. You know, um, the only main thing I tell people to stay away from is the dairy, the cheese and the butter.
Yeah.
And the reason why I tell people to stay away from that is technically it's not food. You know, I can't. You can kill an animal and get a wing or a
Mm-hmm.
leg or breast or a rib. We can find that in nature, but we can't find cheese in nature. You can't go out here and kill anything and say, hey, here's a piece of cheese.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, hey, here's some butter. No, you
Mm-hmm.
have to take that through a process. Anything that has to be taken through a process, the further and further away you get away from nature. So this is why I can put flour and oil in that category, because you cannot go somewhere in nature and say, hey, here's flour,
Mm-hmm.
here's some oil. No, you gotta take those things through a process for in order for those to look like that, in order for you to use it.
Right.
But like I said, you can kill an animal, get a leg, you can find some herbs and some spices to put on there, and then you can use fire to cook it. So that's the main thing. I would say find you a time, follow the time system of your body. Don't wake up trying to put heavy stuff in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Just changing the times that you eat, you will see a big improvement on your digestive system just by the time sequence.
Okay. All right. And where can people find you that want to get in contact with you?
I'm on Facebook, Baba Dawah, BABABAWA, and I'm on Instagram. I have an email address. My email address, Baba Dawah at Maat Herbal Remedies. That is NAATHERBALRemedies.com. Contact by email. Yeah, pretty much.
All right. And just for those, I will list all that for
Mm,
everybody down in the show notes. I'd like to
mm,
thank Mr. Baba Dawa for joining us this evening. Thank you so very, very much. I really
absolutely.
appreciate your knowledge and your insight. Um, we all need it. We
All
all need
right.
it. And I personally, I know I do. So I humbly thank you there, sir.
I appreciate you.
All right. And bye for now.